Not a problem. Here we are. Another episode of These Guys is upon us.
Yep.
3 more topics lined up.
Yeah. Probably not going to talk about any of them though because it's Christmas time, and what we're talking about, no one's even going to listen to because it's Christmas time, and
That's right.
who watches anything during Christmas?
I don't. I even have my Christmas sweater on.
That's it. I don't, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Today we're going to be talking about Kumare, which is an interesting film.
Excellent.
You're going to want to check that one out for sure. We're also going to be talking about Steve Harvey and the whole pageant incident. But there's an interesting angle on this. You're going to want to stick around. And we're also going to be talking about Conor McGregor and his UFC win, but not specifically about the fact that he won. We don't necessarily fully care about that. What we're interested in is his story, and that's what we're going to be getting to.
Okay, so another week's upon us. Before we even start, because this week you're taking the lead on 2 of them, I want to make sure that it is known that you are not allowed to commit a penalty this week.
Okay.
I do not want to see the referee come out for you.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens because you're just a goon.
We're going to try it.
Yeah. So
We're going to try it.
You're going to go right away. I'm going to start
We're gonna go right away. I'm actually going to bring my notes because this is an important one that I don't want to miss any points.
Okay, your time is starting now.
I can already see I need more than 2 minutes. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Kumare, which is a great film. The interesting part of this film is basically a guy, Vikram Gandhi is his name. He grew up under Hindu culture, from India. Well, his parents were from India, but he was born in the United States. But in growing up in that culture, he started to ask all the questions like, why do we buy so much into rituals? Do rituals really have meaning? Where do they even come from? When it comes to religious teachings, why do we have so much faith into them, and why is it that when we look at gurus, which are the people who are so much teaching this type of stuff, why is it that we feel like we're not just as powerful as them, or we sort of subordinate to them, all these sorts of things? And is it possible for anyone to essentially be a guru? So in order to kind of find all this out, I mean, he talks about his whole journey, and I don't want to give it away because I think you should watch the film, but in order to find all this out, he decides he's going to actually become a guru himself. He makes up some teachings, some yoga moves, he dresses differently, puts on an accent, all these sorts of things. And he wanted to see now, is anybody actually going to follow me? Again, I'm not going to ruin this.
But you've got no idea who you're talking to. I'm well aware of what's involved. Believe me, I probably know more than you on the subject.
I think you should watch the film because it's extremely interesting what happens. The key points that I wanted to bring up was that when it comes to people that we sort of look up to, gurus, and one of my favorites, just even like intuitive people and intuitive healers, when we go to psychics, when we go to all these things, what happens? It's like immediately we get in there and we're like taking these people's thing as like, oh my God, this is a fact. And one of the most powerful things I think in the film, I mean, there's plenty of powerful messages, but one of the things that really struck me was, here he is, Kumare, who's a regular guy, who's posing as a guru, goes into an intuitive healer, and now this intuitive healer is like talking about how, oh my God, I see this amazing stuff, like all this stuff. I see all these Kumares behind you, all these sorts of things, really building it up. And she has no idea that his entire story is false. So it begs the question of where is she even getting this from? And should we be questioning all these sorts of people when we see them?
That's it? You're done?
That's it.
I thought that's how it might come there.
I mean, it could have. I have lots to say on that.
Yeah.
But
okay, I'll try my best to try and, maybe finalize what you were going to say without knowing what you were going to say.
Finalize it, because I know you know where I was going with it.
Kind of.
But I ran out of time.
Yeah, I need you to start the clock. I can't press that button myself.
There it goes.
Okay. Obviously, I came across this film thanks to Joe. He usually makes terrible film recommendations. This one actually happened to be good. I enjoyed it a lot. Good work, Joe.
Inaccurate statement.
Yeah, inaccurate. But I think it's accurate. Anyway, so the film, I think what Joe is getting at, whether or not it is, ultimately what I think stood out about the work that Kumare did in the film, again, without playing the spoiler, is that it really looked at coming from within and figuring out what's going to get you going within. It doesn't matter whether it comes from a guru and if that's what works for you, or for me it might work from a particular friend that has a conversation with me or plays a particular role in my life, or whether it's just me spending some time on my own. We all have different tools that enable us to kind of, I guess you want to call it, grow or evolve or just look at things differently in our lives and make some changes. So I think what really set the work of Kumare apart and helped in furthering even the movie along was that it did focus on that. And that even goes for himself as the quote-unquote guru. So watch the film. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
I usually give things a 2 out of 10 crock of shit.
That's kind of harsh. It's a harsh world.
I'm very generous with that type of rating, but yeah, that was that.
He's out of time. Just like this. No problem. So far, we're on a good path here. I mean, ultimately, you know, it's develop your own intuition.
Yes.
That's definitely a really, really key factor here.
Yeah, you're the best person to know what to listen to, what not to listen to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why are you holding up your mug?
Just because I wanted to take a beverage.
Okay.
Take a little bit of beverage.
Yep. Okay, I got the next one. That means you press the button again for the clock. Okay. So by now, everybody knows about it because the whole world was watching. I'm going to talk a little bit about the whole Steve Harvey situation with the Miss Universe pageant, an event that was watched by 6.2 million people in the world. Of course, if let's say you don't know, you were under a rock, Steve Harvey misannounced the winner of the actual pageant itself, first naming Colombia the winner. Meanwhile, it was actually the Philippines, and he had to correct it on stage.
I have to apologize. The first runner-up is Colombia. Miss Universe 2015 is Philippines.
He went on to correct it even further and to apologize on social media, that whole thing. Okay, that happened. He made a mistake. That's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is the world's reaction to it. Okay, the statistics came in. So I told you there were 6.2 million viewers for the show. On the night of the event, there were 1.6 million tweets made about the show itself, most of which happened once the flub actually occurred. It was actually the 4th most tweeted about Fox special of the year. Now, to me, it is mind-blowing to see how much we care about something so completely insignificant in our lives. And I would love to see us all harness that same passion, that same desire to just go viral and share our opinions, share our views on something that actually matters, something that actually made a big difference. So that would be at the top and not this at the top of things that went on. The other part I want to talk about is that how quick we were to jump on things that are about making somebody feel bad or, you know, putting them down. Yes, I know Steve Harvey has made some questionable choices in his life and made some questionable statements regarding sexuality, women in general and stuff like that.
If a guy is out for one thing, it's best to go for shallow, unintelligent women.
But let's put that all aside. Whether he had done that or not, look at how quickly we were to completely rip this guy to shreds. To the point of putting him down. It even got so far that some people jumped on the whole racist regime again, which I honestly thought racism was dead at this point, but I guess it's still hip in some places. I don't know.
Very popular.
Yeah. So it's crazy how far we take a person's thing and how much we love shoving things down their throat. We would rather. I'm going to be throwing a towel. I'm throwing a towel because it's just there. It is. It hit the table. But anyway. It's just crazy how much we love to get on that. I think if you even look at social media, you can even look at our platform itself, how much people love to point out little simple mistakes, how much people love to rip on things, rather than you get the whole great job, great work, stuff like that. That's become more rare. So I would love to see people kind of redirect their energy and see what it can actually do. And use this as a bit of a wake-up call to show you how much we do care, how much we do tune into things, but let's see what happens when we actually redirect it to something positive, to something that can actually impact the world and benefit it, rather than a pageant that means nothing.
I was just going to say, just for the sake of it, you went 2 seconds over.
No penalty!
I got to say it.
Okay.
I got to build a case because I've committed so many penalties, and so I'm reaching to try and see if at some point we can get the
difference is
the ref out for...
Yeah, but your penalties are like 25 seconds, mine are 2. Thank you. Okay, big difference. Anyway, your statement in regards to Steve Harvey starts now.
Okay, so I have a minute. Couple points. Number one, right off the top, I'm going to throw this out there because I know you love them, the Oscars. I got to say it. I see the same thing happen after Oscar night. Everybody's going bananas about, you know, oh, this person should have won. I can't believe this person. Guys, it's chosen by a set of people. So much of it's political. Just leave it alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
hey,
it's true.
It's great to enjoy the art, but you know, how important is it? Goes back to I saw something. I got to be quick. I saw something on mainstream news. Actually, there was 2 people sitting, 2 I guess anchors you can call them. They were talking about the Kardashians, and this was like the big thing.
If you know how I feel, why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy.
And the male anchor at some point decided, like, oh my God, I can't even deal with talking about the Kardashians. He actually got up, walked off set, and was so mad that they were still talking about the Kardashians. So it's funny because even mainstream news is getting sick of their own bullshit, of going on about stuff of like, we're trying to talk about these things that are meaningless. I'm throwing the towel because I have a couple of things to say. They're talking about things that are meaningless, and it's like, even they're getting sick of it. Like, when are we going to give up this meaningless banter, right? Going back to it, it seems like, reality TV shows, and a lot of people may not know this, maybe they do, that even reality TV shows are not dramatic and exciting enough unless the actual show producers write more drama into it. Yeah. So it's like, the fact of the matter is here we're passing it off as reality TV. Reality isn't that dramatic, so we need to write more drama into it to get viewers. That's it, I'm done.
Big food for thought right there. And how about the fact that Steve Harvey was able to get both towels? I think that's the first time we ever threw towels at the same subject.
That's true. But hold on. This goes back to, are we just as bad?
Well, that's... Wow. I'm going to walk off the set. I can't do this episode.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Can't do it.
You can't do that. Okay.
Okay, you got the last one here, Joe.
For some reason, my scroll is not working properly. Okay,
there
here
it
we
is.
go. We're good.
It works. This computer's still fine.
We're good.
You got the last one. MMA.
We're going to talk
Let's
about
hear it. You're on.
I got 2 minutes in no towel. Oh, my God. Conor McGregor knocked out his opponent in 13 seconds. To be honest, I don't really care about that piece. What I really care about is the fact that this guy's story is actually super inspiring. The videos that started to go viral was the video, obviously, of him talking about post fight, talking about how he sort of uses the law of attraction, and when you visualize something, when you say it, when you start to put it out there, you can attract it to yourself. Great, I totally agree with what he's saying. However, I do also understand it the same way that when we just look at that one isolated incident, a lot of fighters really visualize their fights, and they study the videotape, and they look at that move that their opponent does and how they're going to counter that in order to get the win, and they go over that over and over in their head. No problem. So I can see that. But when I looked at the deeper story of this guy and found out that 2 years prior he was in welfare line, waiting to get his welfare checks, and he was living in Ireland, and it was a very, very different life for him. And I was watching this interview, and he was talking about how when he started to realize that around him, when he started to be grateful for the experiences he had and be appreciative of the situation around him, no matter how it looked, he actually started to see transformations happen in his life. And the interviewer was talking about trying to bring it back down to a sports level, and this guy just kept bringing it back up to like this conscious level of like he's like, even people talk about Northern Ireland, it's such a, dirty city, it's bad, it's this, that, whatever. He's like, but they're never going to change it from that level of consciousness. Like, you have to, kind of get into a different space of gratefulness and appreciation and really, put that out there, and maybe then we're going to transform the city. Yeah. So I just wanted to make the point of how it's like, here you have this guy, UFC fighter, seems like a really rough dude, but really conscious and really bringing in this important message that I think so much of UFC viewer base would truly benefit from if they were able to kind of go wow, this guy was able to use something, his attitude, his gratefulness, his appreciation, to create a life that he liked. That success in his eyes.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. I'll get you to press that start button for me.
Here it comes.
Now, I particularly also love this story, not just because it talks about sports, because I'm not even a big fan of UFC or MMA and all that stuff like that. So it's not just on that pill. But I love stories like this where you see people taking full control of their life and where they're going and going 1,000% at something and creating what they want to create in life. That's what really got me going about it. There are far too many of us in this world that love to spend time basking in doubt, in fear, in victimhood, that we just think we don't even give ourselves a chance to do the things that we're capable of in this world. Versus this guy decided, you know what, no, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I'm gonna go for, and he just went for it, and look what it created. Obviously created a pretty rapid level of success. Whether or not that happens for everybody is irrelevant, but at least he went for it, and that's what I really admire about it. I also just love to see any element of consciousness in sports. I have to reference quickly one of the best basketball players in the game, so LeBron James. He had that time, he meditated mid-game.
The first one, this is the last time out. He has played the entire game. He would have played the entire game in Game 6 if it wasn't a blowout.
They caught that on camera. He does it all the time before games. There's just nobody that plays the game like him, in my opinion. Yeah. It seems to go in slow motion. He seems to be, I don't have time, that's okay. He's awesome, LeBron James. Anyway, consciousness in sports.
Consciousness in sports,
yes.
We're stopping it.
Has a big impact.
Sort of win 4 seconds over. Again, building my case. If anybody at home is taking notes, remember Mark kind of used 6 extra seconds.
I repeat, no penalty!
Trying to build a case for myself here, but
at least I wore my Christmas sweater. Where's yours?
I don't know. I know. We posted it on Did I post it?
We didn't post on the
I
page yet.
posted.
We'll
Yeah,
put it up.
We'll put it up. We'll put up my Christmas sweater.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's a great sweater.
But you know, it's the season. This is the last episode people are gonna watch. A new episode people are gonna watch before the actual, I guess, Christmas, if we want to talk about that one.
Jesus is coming.
Yeah. You know, although we know most families will be gathering together after their dinner to watch these guys, starting from season 1 all the way through to this episode.
Come on. Obviously.
Yeah. That's been that.
That's been that, and which is another episode of these guys.
Yes.
We'll see you sometime soon.
Sometime.
Probably in the break, if not,
Yeah.
next year.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens. Steve. Cut it, Steve. Cut it.
Steve.
Cut it. Steve. Steven Drainer. Steve.